Hey, Leah, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, tell us who you are and what do you do?
Yeah, Leah Messina, and I am the founder and CEO of Sinuate Media. Started Sinuate Media back in 2006 as the organic marketing company. We started kind of in the influencer marketing space. I came from the entertainment world originally, but have very much evolved my career since then over the last 18 years. So,
That's
based in
awesome.
Las Cruces, New Mexico, and yeah, originally from New York, so it's a very different here from where I started my life.
Yeah, the West Coast is very different. I was born in Long Island,
Okay.
um, and yeah, it's a definitely a slower pace than in New York.
Oh yeah, yeah. When I first moved from New York to Maryland to Baltimore, where I started the business, I was like, okay, things go a little bit slower than New York here, but it's okay. Then I moved from Baltimore to Las Cruces. I was like, oh, I had that wrong. It was a completely different pace altogether.
Exactly. What got you started? Why did you start your agency? Are you an accidental agency owner?
I always wanted to have my own business, and I came from the like, digital publishing world. Before that, I went to work after college for a small digital agency, and I was there for about 3 years, and I really loved it. And I was like, oh, this is a really interesting, evolving area. Back then we would still call people webmasters, and
Oh,
we
I
were just
forgot about that.
yeah, yeah, all the way, the whole like persona of like these people live in their mom's basements was still like really hot back then. Um, but I really kind of fell in love with the emerging technology that was happening. And the agency I was at was kind of tasked me with like figure out everything you need to know about podcasting, figure everything about RSS feeds, figure everything about video, and we're going to teach our clients about that. So even though I was doing like project management work and leading digital campaigns, I kind of had this side role in the agency to then educate our clients. At that time it's American Express, A&E Television, about all these new technologies that were coming out, and I thought that was so exciting.
Hmm. Man, I forgot about Webmaster. I mean, I go back so long ago. I remember we used to put website counters on the bottom of the
Oh
website.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, those geo sites back then, right? A lot of
That was
flashing
my
things.
first website. I did it on
Yeah.
a geo site, and it was
Hmm.
making fun of In Sync called In Shit, and it got really popular. That's how I got started.
Oh, how funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and it had a website counter, and like you'd always go like back to like how many people viewed my website this week, and you're like
Yeah.
50. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Didn't know who they were, but hey, that number was increasing. That's all that mattered.
Yeah, yeah. But well, awesome. Let's talk about when you were starting your agency. You were a white label agency for a while.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. So, when I had started the agency, as I said, kind of came from the entertainment space, and uh, I just kind of sent out emails to everybody I knew to say, "Hey, I have an agency now. Let me know what kind of projects you might have that I can help you with." And one of the people that was willing to take a meeting with me was at a pretty big media agency in New York, and she let me come in, kind of give her my pitch, and introduced me to somebody there that said, "Yeah, we could use what you're doing," and they would just go resell it, and we would be pretty much the back office, kind of doing all the day to day marketing work, coming up with the creative ideas and the execution of it. And uh, it was great to get our hands in some amazing projects. But yeah, we were definitely the behind the scenes people.
How long did it take you to realize that the white label wasn't the best for you?
Yeah, we kind of ran with it so we started in '06, and right around when the economy started to have its big decline, then I'd say it hit us about a year later than most people. Uh, but at that point, we kind of saw the writing on the wall. The clients, some of the direct clients we did have, started not paying their invoices, money was coming in more slowly, and our white label clients were looking to pull things in house. And so, oh no, this is going to be very bad for us. And they made up about 60 to 70% of our business at that time. So as soon as that happened, it was pretty devastating to the company. I mean, it was actually truly devastating to the company.
And so what was kind of like your take on that? Like, were you like, okay, we'll get through it, or was it panic mode? Was it like, all right, let's get serious?
Yeah, it was definitely let's get serious. Let's reevaluate what is happening in the industry. Where is it going to be in like 5 years from now? Kind of going back and thinking through the questions that people had been asking us, like what we could do for them. And I kind of like, maybe really didn't in the moment notice it, but, they started asking us, could you build our website? Could you start an email campaign for us? And that was not really the focus of what we had been doing the last several years. But I said, okay, well, if this is where the opportunity is, we really need to reconfigure this. And we were on a project model through those, first several years. And looking at the longevity of that and just, the hustle that needs to go into project sales. Okay, let me think about how I can do this as a retainer model business. What can I offer for where we are now in the world and where digital is going? And so we really made that shift to focus more on retainer projects, getting more long-term value and really coming at it from the point of we are the marketing agency that can attach to a company or attached to an existing marketing department, but really be your digital experts. And that worked out really well.
How did your structure and your team change? Because when you're selling projects, you're all designed about getting a project in and getting it out the door the most efficiently.
Right.
And it's really not building relationships. With retainers, it's more about, how do we be this advisor? How do we, help them grow and, like you said, be a bolt-on? So what were some of the shifts that you had to do?
Yeah, definitely a lot more integration, like getting them to let us in and being a part of earlier conversations. Because, on the project side is always like, okay, now we're ready to go to market. We need you to do these things to help us get there. And we realized we need to be part of those conversations much earlier. In some cases, the business maybe even had like operational issues that they needed to address before marketing could even properly be implemented. So where it made sense, like helping them figure out some of those things, especially like in COVID when everybody needed to all of a sudden have an e-commerce site, brick and mortar stores, and they didn't know how to do distribution. They didn't know how to do fulfillment. And as best as we could, help them through that so that they could have a functioning business during that time. So earlier conversations for sure, more frequent conversations, and then just letting them see that we were there to help be the problem solvers.
Were you able to convert all of your clients, or were there a handful, or were there new ones that you went from project to retainer?
We kept some of them. It's kind of an interesting period because back then we had some clients that, they were in business. Maybe they were considering launching other businesses or new businesses or second businesses. And so because we had good relationships with them, they did give us a call and say, hey, we're trying this new venture. Can you work with us? And so that was a great way to kind of, as we brought those folks in, to transition to the retainer model. And then it was just a lot of more sales efforts. I did a lot of public speaking and I did a lot of free marketing training. And, this is all pre, cold email outreach days. So a lot of kind of getting out there to showcase our expertise. And then that helps bring in more business.
Yeah, I see with a lot of agencies, and especially when we went through the same process of transitioning from project to more retainer, it was very hard to take a client that treated you as like they were just giving you orders, to letting you come in to some of those important meetings and be like, hey, you should be actually doing it this way. They'd be like, who are you? Like,
right.
Did you saw the same thing?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a very fine line. I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday of, when you're working with a marketing director or a CMO, the fine line between you're a helpful resource or you are threatening to their position. And we have to obviously stay on the side of being the helpful resource. Where we can help create efficiencies or save money, it has to be in the right places that's valuable to the CMO. so we have to make sure we're aligned with them and that we're really their support system.
Yeah. And there's so many bad marketing directors and CMOs out there that have no clue and they should be fired.
Yeah.
And you just realize, because I remember, when I started the first agency, I was 22.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I had always, go into these big meetings, like with, CMO of Aflac and be like, oh my God, this guy's a genius, right? For the duck.
Right.
This guy didn't come up with a duck,
Yeah.
and he'd even understand how to do marketing. Like he just knew how to hire people and manage people.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I was like, what the, like, it's like, I know more than you. And I just got out of school.
Yeah. Yeah. That was an interesting point too. So I started my agency, my goal was to get it started before I turned 25. So like literally, 3 weeks before my birthday, I got it incorporated. So yeah, I felt, I had to like keep my age sort of like a secret for a while of like how young I was to be coming into these meetings and be telling these people what they need to do. And here's all the new technologies they need to be paying attention to. And if they're not, they're going to be missing out on this whole evolution of where marketing is headed.
But it was, if you think about it, it was kind of easy for us because it was all this new stuff.
Yeah.
And all these decrepit old people like I am now, don't understand the new stuff. So they always wanted the younger person.
Right.
So I think that gave us a leg up when we were, we were doing this.
Yeah, it definitely opened up a lot of conversations and doors because, I could talk to these new things that were out there and, be the person to come in and say, this is what social media is. This is what you need to do. And here's how we could help you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough. That's awesome. What's the goal? Like you've been doing it for a long time. So what are you guys building up to?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like I said, like we've been through a lot of iterations of what the business has been over the last 18 years. And now, we're looking at what the next phase is, how we've integrated AI in the last year to our work. And, but we are in a mode where we are continuing to expand. And that's, after probably about 2 years of really being focused on the sales side of the business, so I kind of started to step away from the day-to-day creative part, the project management part, kind of over a period of time. And so now I do mostly the, business development side. I focus on, how we're going to grow the business. And so after doing this really heavy focus on sales for the last couple of years, I kind of got it into my head that we are going to have to grow through acquisition. So we started that process of trying to find a good fit for us. And so we're in that process now. Hopefully all things go well. We should close on our deal in the next 60 days for our first acquisition.
Very cool. What was the criteria that you looked for?
So we wanted to have, culture-wise, that they kind of follow the same quality of work that we like to put out there. We were looking for something that had a specific either niche because our Sinuate today is pretty, for the most part, industry agnostic, even though we have some concentrations, but we do have clients in a pretty wide range. So we wanted something where we can kind of drill down into a niche, and that could bring some other area of expertise to it. So the company that we're at now is in the web development space. So that would bring in additional talent to our team that we don't have in-house, and it will help us expand further. Obviously we're located in Las Cruces, New Mexico, which kind of from a sales perspective, even though so much has gone on Zoom, can be a challenge at some points because we aren't located near a major city. So it just makes travel a little cumbersome sometimes. So we would open up another office with that expansion.
And were you looking at, making sure that they were profitable as well?
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely that they were profitable, that, we were coming into something that we weren't going to have to do major changes to. We actually wanted something that we can come in and day one pretty much keep things the same for a while so that we could learn how they do their business and then optimize it over time. So something that had been functioning properly for a long time.
Good, good. And are you wanting the founders to stay or the founder to stay? Or to get the hell out of the way?
No, they're great people. We love them. They're going to stay on for about 6 months to help with the transition, and then move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
One thing I'll tell you, so we've bought 10 agencies in the past 3 years now.
Yeah.
When you buy someone, don't tell any of their clients for about like 6 months.
Yeah.
Because you don't want, they're going to have a knee jerk reaction of going, oh, the service is going to go shit. Who's this one company? All these new people. And so if you can kind of keep it a secret for a while, and then you can be like, hey, we were sold 6 months ago. Oh man, the service is way better.
That's good advice. Yeah, that's the kinds of things I'm like my day-to-day, worries and planning is all about this integration. How do we tell the clients? How do we integrate the teams together? And that is something that we obviously that's a big concern. We don't want to show up and all of a sudden all the clients say, yeah, thanks, but no thanks.
And I'm curious too, is it an asset purchase or are you buying everything?
It's an asset purchase. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So,
and for everyone listening, an asset purchase is basically just buying the contracts, not buying any of the liabilities that people hide.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Which to your question earlier about, what we're looking for, because we had talked with several other companies over the last couple of years, having a good set of books and good documentation is critical, because we had talked to some other companies where they couldn't even furnish proper records. And so how could we even justify buying this if we can't even have a record of anything?
What their number they thought in the very beginning when they initially talked to you, was that kind of, or like their EBITDA number or their net profit, was it spot on to when you started looking at their books, or was it
pretty
off?
Close. It actually, they are going through a broker, so they have.
So they cleaned it up.
Yes. They actually, the process has gone much more smoothly than our other conversations that were, just came through conversations, and then we just kind of dealt with the people directly. So it has been a much better process, much more clean. We have a data room. We can go look at all the data in there, and so they're pretty close to it.
Good. Yeah, I just always tell people, if you don't have someone really going through the books, like you're going to be so surprised. You'd be like, oh, I'm not profitable, or I'm not even close to where I was thinking.
Yeah.
And then, is this a all cash offer, some cash, earn out? Equity?
Yeah. We're doing some cash up front. We're actually going through the SBA. So we're getting an SBA loan. And so we have, that time period to pay that back. And then we're doing a little bit of seller financing for a portion of it. So.
Okay. No earnout?
So seller financing, and when we're doing a consulting period for that 6 months time, so we're paying them to stay on for that period. So that's actually because the SBA regulations has to be a separate contract.
Okay. You may want to look at some kind of performance or earnout for a portion of it, just because people can kind of make things look like sunshine and rainbows, and then when they go away, it really could go to shit. So you just may want to look at that, and especially everyone thinking about growing through acquisition. It's a great way, but there's a lot of gotchas, and then once you do the deal, all the hard stuff starts with the integration and making sure everyone stays, from employees to all your clients. So
right, exactly. Awesome. Yeah, it'll be a fun project. At this point in the business, evolution. It's obviously it's going to be a big undertaking, but I'm pretty excited about it to let us grow and see where that takes us.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing all these details in your story. Our goal is just to highlight really smart people like you that have done it, so everyone listening can go, yeah, I like that, or that's not for me, or that's what I need to avoid. So is there anything I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the listeners listening in?
Um, yeah, I guess, part of the acquisition, and the retainer versus project model actually comes back into play here. Um, and that is something we're going to have to kind of start again with, that is develop new retainer opportunities. So it's a creative exercise that we'll have to go through, in a business development exercise, really. Um, but you know, even though they're very established, we do have to kind of take a fresh look at it and say, again, where is this industry going? And how could we establish something that has a good amount of recurring revenue that's going to complement what we do?
Exactly. Awesome. Well, cool.
Uh,
What's the agency website people go and check you out?
yeah, sinuatemedia.com is our website, and we're on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, all the things.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well,
Yeah.
everyone go check out their site. And thanks so much for coming on the show. If you guys enjoyed this episode and you're at a point where you guys kind of want help and maybe a community of people seeing what you're doing so they can kind of point you in the right direction, I'd love to have you guys all go to agencymastery.io and click on the little scale button, and we'll see if we can help you out. And until next time, have a swank day. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you want more content like this, make sure you click on the link on the screen or check out your most popular podcast platform where the full episode is there. And until next time, have a swank day. What are you doing? Go check it out. Click on the link. I'll see you soon.